What's going on, everybody? It is Luke Bello with the Sideline Scoop, and today I thought we'd take a look at Packers wide receiver, one of the newest wide receivers, Reggie Begelton, who, if you don't know, during the offseason was brought into this team from the Canadian Football League. Last year, the Packers sort of saw how good he was in the CFL up there in the north, where he had 102 receptions for 1,444 yards and 10 touchdowns. So he put up a monster season when it comes to the Canadian Football League, and I think lots of people have wondered, can his talent translate from the Canadian Football League to the NFL? Because obviously, we know the Canadian Football League doesn't have as much talent, isn't as stellar, I guess you could say, as the NFL. So I think some players who are insanely good in the CFL might not be as good in the NFL. So I think lots of people have been wondering, can he be as good in the NFL as he was in the CFL? And so now coming into Packers training camp, right when training camp started, there was some news coming out that said like he was, had some great plays, was getting some chemistry with Aaron Rodgers. I saw a couple of videos of him, making some great plays. But since then, it seems that his the talk about him has sort of quieted down. He hasn't really been a standout guy in at least like the past week or so. And so I think people are wondering, like, can he make the cut? Will he make this Packers team? Will he be one of the wide receivers who, is on this Packers roster when the season actually starts? So if we take a look at what the wide receiver coach had to say, Jason Vrabel, I don't know if I said that right, Vrabel. But basically, he said it's just about building his confidence in the NFL, that he can go against a number one corner like Jar or Kevin King and just trust himself to win his one-on-ones with the details that we coach and not try to go out and do something that we don't really coach to do and try to do that much. And so what I sort of took from that is basically that Reggie Begelton just needs time. He needs time to adapt to, being in the NFL. He needs time to adapt to, having higher competition. Of course, going against Jar Alexander. Can you imagine coming in and going against like one of the top corners in the league? He has to adapt to that, and really, I think just sort of become comfortable with where he is in the NFL and just sort of growing confidence, growing himself. And I think that all he needs is time. He just needs time to develop himself. Just like any player who comes into the league, he needs time to develop himself. I think that if the Packers give him that, it does seem to me that he will become, a solid wide receiver. Looking at his past, looking at what he's done in the past, he's an insanely hard worker, and he puts in the work, he puts in the time, he puts in the effort. And I think if the Packers can give him some more time to develop, some more time to grow as an NFL player, I think he can be a solid player on this Packers team. So now if we take a look at this Packers wide receiver depth chart, so we got to look there to see if he can be one of the 6 wide receivers who will make it on this team when the season starts. So of course at number 1, we all know we got Devontae Adams, best wide receiver, one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, no question about that. Devontae's number 1. Then we have Allen Lazard, I think now as a solid number 2. I see no one really competing with Allen Lazard for that spot. Of course, when Devin Funchess came in the offseason, people were questioning whether he would be the number 2, maybe Allen Lazard would be the number 3. But now, of course, with Devin Funchess opting out, Allen Lazard is obviously going to be the number 2 guy. And so I think those 2 guys are sort of set in stone. They're the number 1 and 2 guys. When it comes to the Packers wide receivers under that point, I think there's a little bit more questions as to who will be a 3rd, who will be 4th. It seems a lot of people think Marquez Valdes-Scantling has looked very good in training camp so far, and so he may be the 3rd guy on this team, and then maybe Equanimeous St. Brown could be the 4th. Maybe those could be 3 and 4. There's a little bit of question marks, I think, when you come to that area. And then if you sort of take a look at the guys under those 4, you got Reggie Begelton, you got Jake Kumro, you got Darius Shepard, you got Malik Turner, Darrell Stewart. Darius Shepard, for those you don't know, was on the practice squad last year, so he has a little bit of experience with this Packers offense, but was on the practice squad. Darrell Stewart was an undrafted free agent this year I don't know if it's this year or last year, I don't know, out of Michigan State. So when we take a look at those guys number 5 through 9, I don't think I'm missing any wide receiver. If I am, drop his name in the comments, but I think I got all the wide receivers down. So if there are 9 guys and we can only have 6 on this team, that means 3 guys are not going to make the cut. And personally, I feel like the guys who aren't going to make the cut are going to be Darius Shepard, Malik Turner, and Darrell Stewart. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Some people like Darius Shepard. Maybe he'll make it. But it sort of seems to me like Reggie Begelton and Jake Kumro will make the cut, especially now considering Devin Funchess is gone. Reggie Begelton has a much higher chance, I think, to make this Packers offense. Because before, it would have been a little bit harder because, with 10 or 11 guys, it would have been a little bit harder for him to, make those top 6. But now it seems to me that Begelton can come in and be, the number 5 or 6 guy. And then maybe once he makes it to that point, maybe he can work his way up the roster. And if he can show that, he can be consistent, if he can be a reliable weapon for Aaron Rodgers, maybe he could be the 3rd or 4th wide receiver if you just give him time. But I think he just needs time. I think he needs more time to develop, more time to grow on this Packers offense. But I think if the Packers give him that, I think he can be a solid weapon on this team. And I honestly do think that he is going to make the cut. I think he will be one of the wide receivers who makes his final roster when the season starts. All right, so that's going to be all for this video. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure you like it down below. And if you want to see some more Packers content, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Also, if you guys have any recommendations, anything you want to say about, the kind of content you want to see, other players you want to hear about that, you want me to talk about on this channel, make sure you can drop it down in the comments below. I'll be happy to see that. I'll be happy to chat with any of you guys who want to talk. But that's going to be all for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys on the next one.